Hey guys, and welcome to Blue Tube, where we talk all things blue. And today I'm doing a match review of the Chelsea-Southampton game, which we of course lost 3-1. And yeah, all I can do is laugh about it. I really don't know what else to do. And by the way, guys, this video might be a bit long, but don't be intimidated. I'm gonna talk about the game a little bit in the first few minutes or so, but I really want to go on to answering these two main questions, which is firstly, are Chelsea in crisis? And secondly, is Mourinho going to get sacked? And thirdly, should Mourinho get sacked? I want to answer those three questions in depth, especially about Mourinho, because I have a lot to talk about regarding him. But also after that, I want to do a mini channel update as well, just updating you guys on what I'm going to be doing throughout the international break, and how active I'm going to be, that kind of thing. But let's get into the game. Of course, we lost 3-1. Now we've got 8 points from 8 games, and we're 17th, no, we're 16th in the league. But we've got the same amount of goals, same goal difference as 17th, who's West Bromwich Albion. We're just ahead of them alphabetically, which just shows you where we are right now. It's tragic, guys. 8 points, 8 games. What can I say? Our one win came against Arsenal. Funnily enough, guys, I genuinely don't understand that, to be honest. Because Arsenal, they've gone on to beat Leicester, who are on stunning form. They beat them 5-1. Just today, they beat Manchester United 3-0. So, I don't know how, of all the teams that we've played, we've played Swansea beginning. Okay, we lost against City. We played Palace. We played Newcastle. We played Southampton. And out of those games, the game that we win is against Arsenal, which I don't get. But you know what? Life is a mystery. But in the game itself, we started off well, to be fair. Willian got that free kick. We got the goal. And prior to the free kick, I'd say the game was quite evenly matched. And just to get the goal, that was great. We're Stamford Bridge at home. The fans were cheering. 10 minutes in, we get an early goal. And we said, you know what? Today could be our day. Let's forget Porto. Let's forget Newcastle. Today is going to be our day. And then, of course, that wasn't to be. Because at the very, very near the end of the first half, 43rd minute, Davies scored a stunning... actually, no, was it? I can't remember. Yeah. I think it was Dave. He scored a stunning half volley. Begovic had no chance, but really the defending was poor. Defending was very, very poor. And again, if I can remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it was a cross in from the left-hand side, which is where from our right-hand side, from their left-hand side, where Branislav Ivanovic was playing. Moving on. So that goal kind of changed the game, but to be fair to Southampton, they should have had 2 penalties in that first half. I'm not even going to deny it. There's no point, there's no point. They should have had 2 penalties. It's simple as that. And guess what? Both of the penalties were given away. If they were given, which they should have been, they would have been given away by Branislav Ivanovic. I honestly don't know why Mourinho is continually putting him out there. Since Swansea, no, it's not even since Swansea, since pre-season. Ivanovic has been a liability, a constant liability to our defense. I don't know why he's there. And Mourinho can say all he wants about, the players aren't performing well. But guess what? As a manager, you need to make these decisions. Okay, the players aren't good. They're not psychologically ready. They're not confident right now. I get that. But how have we gotten there? Because of bad results, because of poor defensive performances, because of Branislav Ivanovic. We've honestly, we've conceded how many goals? About 17 goals this season, I think. Or maybe more, maybe 18 or something, I don't know. And out of those goals, I can promise you, 80% of those goals is directly related to Branislav Ivanovic. Directly related to Ivanovic. So that, every fan in the world, even if you don't watch football, you know that Ivanovic is being a liability. You know that Ivanovic is a hole in our defense. And it's time for Mourinho to just put his loyalties aside, to put his faith aside, and just say, Brana, you've been playing terribly. I'm going to play Baba Rahman and Azpilicueta today. It's time for him to do that. And I don't know. I feel like maybe the reason Mourinho is playing him there is for that experience, for that leadership kind of capability that Ivanovic has. And I understand that. Because right now, our team is full of youngsters. And Mourinho made this point last week or so. When he said, how many serial winners do we have? How many serial champions do we have in our squad? You know, we've got 25 champions because we all won the Premier League last season. But in terms of players who win it a year in, year out, we've got John Terry, we've got Mikel, we've got Ivanovic, and that's basically it. Because we've let go of Lampard, because we've let go of Drogba, because we've let go of Cech, and that dressing room atmosphere, that atmosphere in the pitch itself when they're playing the game is different without those big characters, without those big players who have a big influence on all the players around them, simply due to their experience and leadership capabilities. And I understand that Ivanovic has that. But if you're as bad as he is, I don't care how many trophies he's won, I don't care how much experience he has. It's time for him to go. And I'm sorry, this kind of turned into an Ivanovic rant. Let me move on. And of course, the second half, when the score was 1-1, Falcao arguably could have had a penalty. And of course, Mourinho mentioned that in his interview. But he failed to mention the 2 penalties that Southampton should have had. And Ronald Koeman actually said, if Mourinho got a penalty, then the score would have been 5-2 anyway. So, and he makes a good point because they should have had 2 penalties. But yeah, Falcao arguably should have had a penalty. If he did get that, that would have changed the game. We would have been 2-1 up. The confidence would have been boosted, but of course that didn't happen. No complaints there though, because as I said, they should have had 2 penalties. And Sadio Mane scored a goal in the 60th minute. And guys, I'm sorry, I can't remember how he scored. I should have watched I watched the game, guys, but that was yesterday, and right now I'm actually recording this at midnight. And my brain is half dead because of the lack of. I'll talk more about this at the end of the video in my channel update. But Mane scored. I can't remember how, to be honest, guys. No, I can remember how. I remember how. It was John Terry who kind of screwed up. He tried to step in front of Mane and he missed the ball. And Mane had a one-on-one with Begovic, and he's not going to miss from there. And really, you know, John Terry has been benched for the last two or three games. 2 games, I think, last 2 games. And that kind of showed, I guess, his lack of game time, or I don't know, I think, you know what, I do like Terry, and I'll get more into this later about the whole leadership thing, because watching this game, I really felt that. I really felt that we're lacking a Drogba, we're lacking a Lampard, we're lacking a Cech. And I really felt how weak and fragile our squad actually is compared to, you know, a few years ago. But I'll talk more about that in a bit. But as I said, John Terry, I think he had a decent game. No, you know what? No one has a decent game. No one had a decent game in our team. But you know, I don't think he had a terrible game. To be fair, like, individually, I don't think he had a terrible game. Because really, a lot of the goals were individual mistakes that we conceded. And John Terry, you know, maybe the second goal was his fault. But other than that, I think he didn't play too badly. Definitely an improvement from the first few games of the season. But back then, we were actually, I don't even, you know what? Let me just stop talking about that. That's just dumb. Because we're playing as bad, if not worse, than the beginning of the season. Mane, and I said he did get the goal. And then 12 minutes later, Graziano Pele. And this is what annoys me. Eden Hazard. No. Sorry. Sadio Mane. No, I can't remember. I think it was Sadio Mane's goal, actually. Or maybe it was a build. Yeah, it was a build up to Steven David. No. Guys, I don't know what I'm saying. Let's talk about Pele's goal. Pele's goal, again, an individual mistake. It started off with Hazard not tracking back. And they had a fast break on. Hazard, we all know he's not defensively, you know, the most active player. So, you know, that left us exposed on the break on that right-hand side, or on our left-hand side. And Pele, credit to him, it was a great finish. Begovic had no chance at all. And the game ended 3-1. And Chelsea just played terribly. I think the stats are actually Chelsea having 60% possession, which I was surprised by, to be fair. But you know, Southampton definitely, in my opinion, were the better team. But it's crazy to think that, you know, we're getting so much possession, but we're doing nothing with it. It's crazy to think that. You know, I feel like Chelsea last season were completely the opposite. In many games, we had less possession than the opposition, but we were more clinical. We made more chances. We made more opportunities for us to win the game, and that just isn't happening this season. In fact, the complete opposite is happening. In fact, I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. We look like Arsenal 2 seasons ago. That's how bad we're playing. You know, we're looking like Arsenal 2 seasons ago, when they used to literally pass it around everywhere, do nothing with the ball, and at the end of the game, they lose the game, and they'd say, "At least we had more possession." That's literally what's happening to us right now for the last few games, and it's not a good look for us. It's most un-Chelsea-like. Something needs to change, and you know, I really don't want to talk about this any longer because I've been stressed out. You know, this game. It's not just this game, guys. I've you know, the last few hours, like the last day or so, I've had a big moment of reflection about Chelsea. You know, obviously because I'm so attached to the club, I feel like kind of in a way how Chelsea perform affects how I feel, affects my mood basically. And you know, when Chelsea lose a few games, I can handle it, right? But psychologically, for me, being a Chelsea fan, watching every Chelsea game, it's been tough for me, you know, this whole season. Not even this season, since preseason, since mid-July, since we started playing. I can't remember one performance where we come out and say we played a good game, except for the Maccabi game, except for the Walsall game, and maybe except for the Arsenal game. But except for those 3 games, we've been poor, and this is the worst start to the season for our club in the Premier League, and as a club since 1970 something, I think, or maybe even before that, and it's been very, very tough. But you know what, I think right now is a very, very important time for Chelsea fans as a whole to not, you know, be so pessimistic, to not be so unsupportive. I think this is a moment that's going to really define us as a fan base, really define us as a club, who we are, that we truly believe in our club. And you know, in a way, I do think that this could be a good thing. I'm an optimist, you guys know that. In the way that this will scare off the plastic fans, the fans that only watch Chelsea when they win, and only support us when they win. And when we lose, always complain and complain. And I think this will really put a big divide between those fans. And in fact, going through YouTube, not just my videos, but other Chelsea videos as well, I've been noticing a big trend of Chelsea fans. There's been some fans saying, we'll support you to the end. We'll support you to the end through you know, thick and thin. We're always there. And I've been kind of spreading that message as well. But there's also been a bunch of fans saying, you know, Chelsea are playing so bad, they suck, I don't like them anymore. And hopefully those fans go for good, because I feel like Chelsea are better off without those fans. But you know, getting back onto the topic, getting back onto Chelsea, we do need to improve though. We definitely do need to improve. What we're playing, or what we're doing right now, is completely unacceptable from a club of our stature, of our status. And you know, let me say this: if any other manager were at Chelsea right now, they'd be getting sacked. They'd be getting sacked. And you know, the funny thing is, let me tell you this: Liverpool just sacked Brendan Rodgers. You guys may or may not know this. They just sacked Brendan Rodgers, and Liverpool are ahead of us in the table. What does that tell you about where we are right now? You know, we're below Liverpool. And Liverpool are ahead of us in the table, but they've sacked their manager. And that just shows you how bad we as a club are doing, when, you know, it's crazy. And let me go on to those 3 questions that I posed earlier in the video. Are Chelsea in crisis? The short answer is yes. The long answer is absolutely yes. We were in a crisis, there's no doubt about it. I remember the first few games of the season where we lost against Swansea, where we lost against City. Everyone was saying, you know, we're playing bad, but we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna bounce back. We're gonna get better. We're not in a crisis. The media were portraying us as being in a crisis, but we as fans knew in our heart, we're gonna bounce back. We've got the best team in the Premier League. We've got the best manager in the Premier League. We've got everything it takes to get back to the top. And that's kind of been the message we've been telling ourselves. But guess what, Chelsea fans? We're 8 games into the season. We're 2 months into the season. And we're 17th. We're 17th. We're just outside the relegation. We're 16th, but as I said, the same points, same goal difference as 17th. We're just outside the relegation zone. And it's not a good look for us. We're not doing well. And it's not just that. If we were actually performing well, but just not getting the results, I could be a bit more optimistic. I could say, you know what, the results will come. What's important is the consistent performances. But right now, nothing is happening for us. We're not performing well. Players individually aren't performing well. Their team as a whole isn't performing well. We're not getting the results we need. Players defensively are making stupid mistakes. For example, against Newcastle, both our goals were individual mistakes, which I talk about in depth in last week's match review. Today, 2 of our goals, in fact, 3? Maybe, I can't remember if Davis's goal counts. At least 2 of the goals we conceded today were individual mistakes. And of course, going forward, we're nowhere near clinical enough as well. When we get the chances, we don't score. We don't hit the target. We don't, work their keeper. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And I'll be very, very frank with you. I don't see where our next win is going to come from. I honestly think if we were to play, any team in the Premier League right now, it's going to be difficult for us to come away with a win. Because we played Newcastle last week, a team that are sitting in 20th place in the Premier League, a team that have had the worst start to their season in their club's history, no, not in the club's history, but since 1897 or something crazy like that. Yes, Newcastle, worst start to a season since 1897. And we couldn't beat them. We couldn't beat them. And what does that tell you about where we are? It tells you that we're absolutely atrocious in so many levels right now. There's literally not one thing that I can look at and say, at least that's good. There's nothing. Goalkeeper, you know what? Begovic, he's been playing decently. He has conceded a plethora of goals. Let's not deny that. But to be fair, that's more, I'd say the blame is to go to the team, the defense, the players, outfield, rather than the keeper himself. But guess what? Courtois injured. That's a negative. Our defense, it has been terrible. We've conceded so many goals. And I think I've told you guys this before as well. Mourinho's first season at Chelsea in 2005, we conceded 15 goals in the entire season. So far this season, 8 games in, we've conceded more than that. Ivanovic, he's been terrible. He's been atrocious. John Terry, he hasn't been nearly as good as last season. Kurt Zuma, he's been decent, but against Newcastle, he made the stupidest of mistakes. Yeah, but other than that, he's been decent, to be fair. Gary Cahill, nowhere near as good as last season. Azpilicueta, I think he's the only player in our entire squad, or in our entire team, who can say, I've been playing decent. Because he has, and I feel sorry for him, because the rest of our defense isn't helping him. Midfield, Nemanja Matic, terrible. And guys, have you guys watched Mourinho's press post-match interviews after yesterday's game? Because if you guys haven't, go watch them. There's one by Sky Sports, there's one where he sees the media as a whole, and there's one with beIN Sports, an exclusive. If you can watch those, if you can somehow get access to them, watch them. You do not want to miss them. They're very, very, I don't know, I feel like they're very, very significant in the course of the season. Mourinho basically says, to sum it up, in the Sky Sports interview, he goes on for 7 or 8 minutes or so, saying how the team is terrible. He's in the worst moment of his career. Psychologically, the team are lacking confidence, the team are bad. And this is the interesting part though. He said, if the club wants to sack me, they should do it. He said he's not going to run away from responsibilities. He is in no way he is going to resign. He's never going to resign. But if the club don't want him, he has to leave. He said that, and usually managers never say that out loud. They never talk about the safety of their jobs, or they never bring the owner or the club into it in public. And the beIN Sports pundits were saying this, that Mourinho is almost inviting Abramovich to sack him, and it's very, very interesting. And in the beIN Sports exclusive, by the way, if you guys don't know, Nemanja Matic, he was subbed on at halftime, and he was subbed off about 15 minutes later, which was very, very significant. He was asked about that by beIN Sports, and he said, very, very shockingly, I've never heard Mourinho talk about one of his players like this. He said Nemanja Matic is one of those players having the biggest problems right now. Psychologically, he's not well, and everything he does is not well. He even went as far as to say that Matic can't pass a ball right now, and he was brutal. And manager, especially Mourinho, he's such a good man manager. I've never heard him talk about one of his players in that way. But maybe that's just the criticism that Matic needs for him to step up his game. I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But it was shocking to hear what Mourinho had to say about him. So as I said, Matic, been awful this season. Fabregas, he's lost his magic hat. Let me just leave it at that. Pedro, terrible. Terrible. I'd say right now, I said when we bought him, 22 mil is a bargain for him. But the way he's playing right now, I wouldn't pay 10 mil for him. Really, he's been terrible. I do think he's gonna improve though. I do think we were gonna get our money's worth. Don't worry. But as of now, nowhere near. Oscar, he's playing decently. I wouldn't say he's playing poorly. I wouldn't say he's playing well. Simple as that. Willian, I'd say he's playing decently. Willian, out of our midfielders, including Hazard, Willian's been our best midfielder so far this season, I think. Or maybe, if you bring Kennedy and Loftus-Cheek into it, they could play a role. But in terms of our main core squad of players, Willian has been our best midfielder so far, I think. And Hazard, disappointing. I think he still does have it in him. Just the way he dribbles, the way he weaves in and out of players, the way he everything about him, even when he's not playing well, compared to other players, he plays very, very well, in my opinion. And I do think if he adds a bit more finishing and a bit more shots to his game, he can really, really be good. But right now, you can just see from the way he's playing, from his body language, that he's lacking confidence, that he doesn't want to be on the pitch. And it just shows. It's not just him, it's the whole team. And of course, strikers, Loic Remy, I think when he's come on, he's been decent. But as I said, I talked about this in depth near the beginning of the season. He's not the type of player that can lead the line for us, that can start a game for us. He can come in as a sub and have an impact, but to start a game, every time he's done so, he's been disappointing. Falcao, he's been disappointing. To be fair, this game, the first half, I thought Falcao played quite well. He was winning a lot of the aerial duels against Jose Fonte, and I was quite impressed. And in fact, in the second half, he probably should have gotten a penalty as well. So, you know what? Falcao, I'm very mixed about him. He did score that goal against West Brom. So, I think he's playing decent, but of course, look at our competitors. Look at Aguero getting 5 goals for City. You look at that and think Chelsea should be at the same level, or if not higher than Man City, because that's how good as a club that we are, and we have been in recent years. And you look at Aguero and you look at Falcao, there's a big difference. But you could say our first choice is Diego Costa, and we have missed him. We've missed him. We've dearly missed him, and I can't wait for him to come back. People talk about how Diego Costa is just a thug, he bullies defenders, he doesn't know how to kick a ball. People say that, but they haven't watched Diego Costa play, because he contributes so much to the team in terms of a footballing perspective. And I feel like the last 3 games that he's not played, obviously because of the ban against Arsenal, that's shown. And the lack of a presence of a striker, the presence, just his presence, I said presence like 20 times, that's shown. It's been very, very evident. And I miss Costa. I do think he plays a big, big role. So that kind of answers the first question. Are Chelsea in crisis? A definite yes. And should Mourinho get sacked for this? Or is Mourinho going to get sacked for this? I personally think Mourinho won't get sacked. And I don't think that he should get sacked. And I'm going to echo the words of John Terry here. John Terry did an interview for Sky Sports as well, I think, after the game. And he said something very, very interesting. And this really got me thinking about a lot of things. But he said, through thick and thin, we're all the players are behind Mourinho. If anyone can lead us out of this, it's Mourinho. He said that, and that gave me great confidence to hear the captain come out. And really, that kind of reminded me what kind of a player John Terry is and what we're missing out when we don't play him. Of course, playing Cahill and Zuma, they add more pace to our defense, and you could say that. But John Terry, he adds something that not a lot of players in world football can offer. that leadership, that captaincy, that experience, all wrapped into a brilliant defender. And of course he doesn't have as much pace as Cahill or Zuma, but I feel like, you know, what I really felt watching this game was that we can't afford to leave him out of the team. He's too good to be sitting on the bench. And, you know, tactically speaking, if you want to play a high line, if you want to press high, if you want to play that attacking football that Mourinho is trying to play, then putting John Terry in there could be tough. But I do think he just adds another dimension of just awesomeness into our team that we need, that we're lacking. And I talked about this before in the video, saying how we're lacking a Drogba, how we're lacking a Lampard, how we're lacking a Cech. You know, that core spine that we had, out of those four, we've only got John Terry remaining. And putting him on the bench would kind of just mean, I don't know, as a Chelsea fan watching, it hurts me a lot. And, you know, if you think about it, the players that we have in our team right now, they're all either very young or very new to the club. So they don't have that thing that John Terry offers. They really don't. Except for Ivanovic, but for the reasons I've explained in every single video in my channel, Ivanovic should not be playing right now. So guys, I don't think Mourinho is going to be sacked. And I personally have faith in Mourinho. I'm a big fan of Mourinho. And, you know, it's the whole third season syndrome thing. And I know Mourinho, when he was asked about this, he defended himself. And, you know, he should have, because his third seasons have actually been brilliant if you actually go search it up. But the fact is, he's never been at a club longer than 3 seasons, or longer than 3 seasons. You know, he's never been able to build a dynasty. He's never had the chance to do so. And this is his first chance of doing so. This is all very new to him. You know, in his last 10 years of his managerial career, he's never had to do anything like this. To build a team for the future, to kind of have that sustainability factor going into it. He's always been about come to a club, win trophies for 2-3 seasons, and go to another club, find another challenge. But now this is a completely new challenge for him. And I feel like he's just transitioning into it. And I do think Chelsea, he said this in his conference as well, I do think Chelsea will finish top 4 this season. You know, and to be honest, I may be completely delusional, guys. But something in me still tells me that Chelsea can still win this. And that's crazy to think, because we're 8 games in, and we're just above relegation. But I don't know, guys. Something tells me, and guys, the whole Premier League as a whole, I feel like just watching this season, it's been unlike anything I've seen before. I feel like this preseason, this Premier League, is really a historic Premier League. And if you think about it, we're 17th place, but we're 8 points behind first place. No, actually, I don't know. Maybe we're a bit more, because Manchester United won the game. So we're like 10 points behind first place. That's crazy. We're 17th and we're 10 points behind. That just shows how competitive the Premier League is. And I feel like really we still do have a chance of winning the league. Of course it's gonna be tough, but guys, the Premier League is tough. You know, when City are losing against teams like West Brom, of course they had an emphatic win this season. I'm not West Brom, West Ham, and they lost this. Can't remember who they lost against. But you know, any team can lose against anyone, and that's the point I want to make. And every team is gonna go through ups and downs this season. Arsenal, United, City, arguably they've only had good spells this season. Maybe City had that slight, you know, 1 week where they didn't play too well. But you know, those 3 clubs are gonna have dips. Hopefully, Chelsea are gonna have highs as well. And I do think I have full confidence we're gonna get Champions League next season, and I still feel confident that we can win the league, that we still do have a possibility. It's gonna be tough, but there are 30 games ahead of us. Anything is possible, especially in the Premier League. And guys, that kind of sums up the match review for today. But as I said, I want to do kind of a channel update for you guys right now, and the thing is, guys, I talked about this before, but if you go way back to the end of August-ish, and I made that video saying how there's going to be all this stuff happening, all these exams, But in a few weeks I should be all right. I said that then, but I completely underestimated the workload of this year. And as I said, I'm filming this at midnight, and that's after school, coming back, going to various lessons or so, doing all my homework, that kind of thing. I couldn't even watch the Arsenal United game or the Liverpool Everton game, which hurts me as a football fan. But sometimes you gotta prioritize. And you may be seeing my eyes are blinking like crazy because I am so sleepy right now. But I wanted to get this video out for you guys because tomorrow I have no time at all. I literally don't. And I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, and I hate it when I'm watching a YouTuber and then they say, I don't have time, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. But really guys, you have to understand me. I completely underestimated the workload, as I said, and this year has probably not been the best of years for me. The best of the last month basically of my life probably hasn't been the happiest month of my life, purely because of getting back to school. Of course, it's great to see my friends, great to see all of them, to hang out with them, all that. But the workload has been unexpected, and also Chelsea's performances haven't really been helping as well. And as I said, because I'm so attached to the club, their performances kind of affect my life as well, and kind of how I feel, and just the way I do things as well. And right now I'm not in a great place. I think the international break came at a great time for me personally and for the club as well, because firstly, the next few weeks of my life, the next few days are going to be crazy. Maybe even the next couple of weeks are going to be crazy busy for me, and international breaks, so there are not going to be any matches for me to talk about. I was hoping to make videos talking about various different things, like maybe comparing the Premier League, like random football things, like comparing the Premier League to the La Liga, or comparing Ronaldo and Messi, or talking about Mourinho, or talking about Chelsea's loan policy, or talking about Chelsea's transfer policy, or any random videos like that. I was hoping to get those videos out for you guys, which I talked about a month ago as well. But guys, I will try my best. I really will. I'll try my best, because I really enjoy making these videos. And if you guys have been here since July when I made this channel, and I said right from the beginning, the reason I'm making this channel is to create a community of people where we can all talk about football, where we can all kind of have a very, very interactive feel. And in order to have that, I need to be uploading consistently. And over the summer, I uploaded on a daily basis, every single day. If you guys remember the transfer talks, and actually setting up my computer here like this kind of brought me back to the transfer talk days. And if you guys are actually wondering why I'm using this and not my external monitor for today, it's because my monitor is not working for whatever reason today. That's simple as that. But guys, just getting back to channel updates. So the next week and a half or so, or the next 2 weeks of the international break, there aren't going to be any games. So of course there's not going to be any match reviews. But whether there are going to be any videos at all or not is going to be purely dependent on how busy I am. As I said, I'm going to try my best for you guys, because really, I love doing this. I love making videos. I love talking about Chelsea. I love talking about football. So I'm going to try my best to get videos out for you guys through this international break. But as I said, I'm crazy busy right now. And I'm sorry guys, because really, I feel like I'm making excuses. I hate making excuses. That's not the kind of person I am. But there's just nothing I can do about it. And as I said, sometimes you gotta prioritize. And for me, just all my school stuff, all my, my life basically comes, my entire life as a whole comes in front of YouTube, unfortunately. Hope you guys understand that, really. But guys, I feel like I've just been rambling on. Hopefully this video is not too long. Hopefully you stuck around till the end of the video. If you did, congratulations. Hopefully I do see you guys sooner rather than later. But it could very well be that this is my last video until the next match after the international break. And as I said, I do think it comes at a great time for me, because I need to take a week or so just to chill, to calm down. Because you may be looking at me thinking he looks like a drug addict, because I feel just crazy right now. You know, I feel tired, and I've been feeling tired for the last month or so, however long school's been back on. But guys, as I said, I feel like I'm rambling. That brings the end to the video. As I said, what am I saying? I'm rambling. Disappointing loss for us. 8 points out of 8 games. Very, very, very disappointing. Almost disgraceful for a club like Chelsea, for the champions of England to be doing like this. In fact, the worst start for any defending champions in the Premier League. Let that sink in. That's been us this season. Hopefully we do bounce back after the international break. Hopefully we do get back into the game with our players feeling refreshed, feeling clear, psychologically in terms of their confidence, feeling a lot better, feeling a lot more confident, feeling a lot more determined and motivated to work for the team, to work for the manager, to work for the club. And we'll see how it goes after the international break. But until then, I'll see you guys later. And until then, stay blue.